Hello there, my name is Max and welcome to Tabletop Reviews, where today I'm having a look at Starship Captains, a Danish designed board game by Peter B. Hofgaard. Always awesome with some Danish designed games. Actually at a convention I got to playtest expansion for this one, or at least something that might eventually become an expansion. I haven't heard any official announcements. This was just something he was there doing, so very cool. Anyways, let's not delay too much. Let's get to the table and see how it is set up. Of course, we start with the main board in the middle of the table. On it are these triangles with exclamation points. Put the cardboard triangles from the box on these. The triangles with numbers are flipped so the orange number is face up. The ones with a planet symbol is replaced by a card, and the ones with a faction icon are flipped to show the reward, and the faction card is put underneath. Pirate ships are put on the skull symbols and flipped to show their reward side. The player's ships are put on the space station in the middle of the board. A medal per player and the last faction triangle for the space station are put on the appropriate spaces next to the two, ready for the second round. For the third and the fourth round, place a grey cadet per player on the appropriate places. The mission card deck is placed on the appropriate space on the board. Place the board here in the middle of the table in reach of all players. Then take the green cards with the U on the back, shuffle them up and place 3 on the far right of the board. Then take the blue cards, split them into a deck with A and B, take the A deck, shuffle them up and fill out the remaining 5 spaces on the upgrade board. Then take the A and B decks to shuffle them together to create the main upgrade deck. Place it on the appropriate space on the upgrade board. Now we set up the faction areas. Take the 3 faction boards, and then for the pink and black ones, you shuffle up their decks and draw a random card to be that faction's card. For the yellow ones, or the tin cans, there's only one card. You take that, place it in, and follow the instructions to take a blue card and place it here. Each player gets a spaceship and an individual upgrade board. Where there are these orange symbols, you must place a damage token to start the game. 7 in total. Following the colored dots that are on your spaceship, each player gets 2 ensigns of each color, red, blue and yellow, and 1 gray cadet. Each player then gets 2 medals to put on the marked space on your spaceship. Finally, each player gets 5 of these white plastic rings to put on these spaces on their spaceship. And that is set up complete. It does take some space. I mean, my table here realistically only fits 2 people for 2-player games. So that's what I've set up, obviously. There are a lot of moving parts, and honestly, setting it up just for the video here took an eternity. With all kinds of itsy bitsy moving parts, and there's a few things they could have done to make it simpler. Like the board could have a starting position with the cards and these tiles here instead of making it random every turn. I don't think that's enough. So that's just an example of it's doing a little bit too much on the setup. But you have a whole bunch. The tracks up here, they're nice and simple to set up. Luckily, you have the board where it has so many moving parts you need to put down in the correct spaces. Of course, all kinds of symbology on your players. So there is quite a decent bit to set up. I think having things in bags helps. I would probably have things like these in like component holders. But what you could really need is an insert, right? An insert where everything is in, so it's easier to take out. That's sort of what I'm missing here. There's quite a lot to set up. It was kind of a tedious thing, even just for the video here. But yeah, setup done. Let's have a look at gameplay. On your turn, you can use your ensigns based on their color. The red guy allows you to move on the board 2 spaces. You can choose less. Once you've used your ensign, you move him to the back of the queue. If you end your movement on one of the faction spaces, you take a triangle, if available, place it up top, ready for the next round, and then you take the rewards printed. The yellow guy allows you to attack nearby pirates.
When you do it, you take the pirate ship, and then you get the reward that is printed on it. It's either 1 android or 1 metal and 1 artifact. You also always take a damage to a ship's storage. The blue guy allows you to take an upgrade card from the upgrade board. You replace it immediately from the upgrade deck. You can choose any of the available cards and then place it on your own player upgrade board, where there is no damage visible. On either side of these cards, there are symbols. If you can make 2 symbols of the same type line up, either through another card or on the board, you get an immediate bonus. You can also choose to take a green card, which is endgame scoring. These cards will be replaced by blue upgrade cards. There's one final action you can do on your turn. All your other ensigns can do this, your cadet can only do this. Repair damage. Simply remove one of your damage tokens, wherever they may be, and reset the cadet. On your turn, you can also complete a mission. If you are already on a planet with a mission card on it, you can take that mission card, place it on the space with your spaceship, and assign the amount of ensigns needed as shown on the card. If you color match ensigns to the ones the mission wants, you get an immediate bonus. That bonus could be moving on a faction track. If you reach a space with a symbol next to it, you get that bonus. If you cross into the darker part of the faction track, you activate the faction card chosen at the start of the game. If you make a full circle on it, you flip over your little token to showcase that you get 5 extra points at the end of the game. After having done everything with the mission, you take the highest numbered triangle, flip it over so the orange number is no longer showing, and place it on a now empty space. And then you replace where that number was with a new card from the deck. When the round is over, you reset by sliding your ensigns down, creating 4 new ones for the next round. Then you get the bonus for the new round. In the second, it is a medal each. Third and fourth, it is a new cadet each. Then you check if the faction spaces on the board are empty or not, and then you place down the faction triangles on the empty ones. If you get 2 artifacts that match in color, you can use them to use that color's action instead of an ensign. Medals are also useful. They can make sure that your cadet gets for 1 medal upgraded to an ensign of any color. You can also upgrade one of your existing ensigns to become a different color. By paying 3 medals, you can upgrade an ensign to a commander. You simply put these white circles on them with a cool trick.
And at the end of the game, you score points for any completed missions, for how far you are along the the faction tracks, for any endgame scores you might have, 1 point for every commander, android and pirate, half a point for every metal or artifact, and -1 point for every damage. And that is gameplay, right there and done. Let's talk about it. So the main actions that you have up here, it's actually called activating rooms, but whatever. With move, attack, and upgrade. And then of course repair, which is basic and makes sense. All that makes sense, but the only one that I'm really happy about is move. Like moving around, trying to get to missions, to try and complete them. That to me is the only really good option. Like fighting, sure you get a pirate and you get some kind of a bonus, but you still take the damage. So might as well just fly up and do a mission that takes the yellow guy rather than fight, and then maybe pass a pirate and take a damage. I can repair that. I have a cadet who is not useful for anything else. So whatever. So it just doesn't feel powerful. I would love that to be like, you don't take the damage, you fight the pirates, you're better than them. But no, you take the damage still. So just move up. And the upgrade as well is a good action, but it depends on the cards that are there. Right. Like right now, just basically there's 2 yellow upgrades. And it's like, that's fine, but you need a whole bunch of bonus symbols on them for me to even consider taking them. Because otherwise I won't consider it. Because they're not good enough. If they don't have a bunch of upgrades. I don't want to do the yellow one, because I take damage. Other than that, it doesn't feel like it's fine, but the bonus actions are basically why you would take them, right? Oh, I can upgrade this one, but it's gonna give me a repair, so that's nice. That's basically why you want to try and do it, is to get those upgrades. And I don't feel like the upgrades do enough, right? Like it's, whatever. Maybe it's just a situational. You have the endgame scores, which is fine, but there's only ever 3 of them. Which meaning in a 3-player game, maybe everybody gets 1. In a 2-player game, somebody might get 2. In a 4-player game, somebody's not gonna get any. So why not just do it so that you pass them out, right? Pass them out randomly at the start, so everybody has an endgame scoring thing and a goal to go for. And also, some of them are objectively better. 1 point per completed mission that takes blue. Hell yeah! I mean, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points right now. Or 1 point per pirate. That's fine. But that just null and voids the damage you're going to take from the pirates. You're never going to have that many pirates down here. 3, 4, maybe. Even if going for them. Because you're going to have to do so much repairing. But you're always going to go for missions. And now you're just going to focus on missions with blue guys on them. Which is most of them. You're not going to see a board ever where there isn't at least like 2 missions that take blue guys. Objectively better. Objectively better. That needs to be more balanced, right? The candidates is a fine touch. You have somebody who is almost useless, but still a useful action, right? Removing a damage, it's basically +1 point. And you get them throughout the game, that's fine. And for one measly medal, you can upgrade them so they're more useful, tailoring your ship and your crew to your needs. That's a great addition. And it's only a half point. If it was 1 point, maybe you wouldn't do it so much. Then you have upgrading to the commanders. It's another action, that's good. They get more power. But do they get enough power as a commander for me to want to do it? I don't think they do. Like, it cost me 3 medals. So it's basically trading away half a point. Once again, because commanders are a point. But are they good enough for me to do that? Wouldn't I just want to assemble a whole bunch of medals, hope that I get a bonus point action for having a bunch of medals, which you probably aren't going to do. But maybe I just want a bunch of medals because some of these demand medals. Again, they need to be better. So upgrade the yellow guy to commander. Now he doesn't take damage for attacking. Upgrade the blue guy to a commander. Now you can draw an extra endgame scorer as well, including your captain. Make the red guy captain and you can move 3 spaces. I actually wouldn't know how to make the red guy better because it's just the only action that's actually good. Again, just that's such a simple way to upgrade it. But it wasn't thought about. Whatever. I also feel like, you know, artifacts are fine. Artifacts are good. Like you assemble 2 and you're basically guaranteed to do an extra action. Maybe it's not the action you want, but you're guaranteed to do that extra action. And maybe if you have a yellow artifact, then you don't take damage. Maybe that's what you do. Maybe. Then you have the android. The androids are good. I guess it's just a joker, one-time use joker. It's fine. Some missions demand that you use a android to get the rewards, but usually they're strong rewards. And androids being just 1 point. But again, I'm not getting an incentive to use my androids, just to collect them, right? To have as many as possible. Because it's one-time use for something that I can do next round, or maybe I can already do this round, or if I just pay 1 medal, I can do it now. So why wouldn't I just keep the point and trade in the half point to be capable of doing it? Again, there isn't really an incentive, just collect a bunch of androids. There's no incentive to use them, they're not better. Usually on the mission cards, the reward is very good. But other than that, again, then upgrade card, then I can draw an extra endgame score. I attack, I don't take damage if I use an android. Like these little things that make it more incentivized to make a commander or to use an android, rather than just collecting them and playing a basic game. It's these little things where it's constantly, it works, but you just need to make it better. But that's gameplay. Let's talk about components. So the cards are a little bit thin, but you don't really have them in hand that much, so it doesn't bother you that much. Everything cardboard is very nice. Like it's thick and it wasn't even close to like falling apart when punching it out. And these ships here, these little foldable ships with the dual layered work very well. It's basically just one sheet that you then clap together with some sticky things they provide you with. Absolutely brilliant, works perfect, and every slot has issue. Like you don't have issues twisting your guys around here. Everything, you know, the damage token artifacts or the pirates that work fit in here. The cards line up perfectly, and there it's not double layered, so it's difficult, but it should line up. And yeah, all of that is perfect. Then you have these figures right here. This feels like an unnecessary Kickstarter stretch goal. That's what it feels like. They're fine, it's good quality, it's a bunch of plastics, but was it necessary? I mean, the only reason this really is necessary is because of the rings that need to be added to the commanders. They need to have something to be on, and if this lady on top wasn't here, maybe it would fall off too easily, or maybe it wouldn't. Who knows? It just feels like an unnecessary Kickstarter stretch goal, but it's also really cool to know. I have this guy. He's ready. And look at this sassy girl. You're around and looking to try and find the differences. You know, it's limited how much difference there is on them, of course, but there's some. You know, this guy has a pointy head. He's an alien of some sort. So it's cool. It just kind of feels like a Kickstarter add-on, not add-ons, stretch goal, right? And in terms of the theme, which is, if you hadn't realized by now, it's obviously Star Trek without being Star Trek, right? It's the same way as Dinosaur World is clearly Jurassic Park, the board game. This is clearly Star Trek inspired. I don't know anything about Star Trek. I have never watched anything really. I know that one of the Chris's, the actors, has been in Star Trek, but yeah. But my friend, who's a very big fan of Star Trek, watched some of the original shows and stuff, he says that it's very good. Right? The red and the blue and the yellow guys and the grey guys, they all make sense. A lot of the missions, some of them remind him of you know, thinking, oh, this is taken from the show, and you know, obviously the ships has the shape and stuff. So he says that it's very well made into being a replica of Star Trek without officially being it, with of course humor added on. I don't know anything. Form your own opinion on this one. I can't really talk to it. But that is gameplay. Let's head back up for the final thoughts. So that is just a slight change to I'm doing things for a bigger review. I might discuss that in a later video. But yeah, we've talked about all of it, so now it's time for Does It Lie to You? It's 1 to 4 players, 12 and up, 25 minutes-ish per player. So it's nice to say that they say per player, that's also interesting. So the 1 to 4, of course, I've not played it solo. I've played it at 3 and 4, and actually I haven't played it at 2. I actually haven't. Only at 3 and 4. And it feels very good there. I couldn't imagine 2-player of this one. I don't think there would be enough changing on the map in a 2-player game. So 3 and 4 definitely feels like what you should be playing this game at. Because then there is enough changes on the map and in the upgrade lines of cards there for it to be more interesting for you all. At 2 that just probably wouldn't be enough. 12 and up, it's one of the higher ranges for age, and it's definitely more agree with it, because obviously there is a lot of moving parts and a lot of things to consider for it. But in the end it's fairly simple, so 10 to 12 is probably the minimum. But nice to see it going higher rather than lower. And then you have the 25 minutes per player, and that's fairly accurate. You would probably get it down to about 20 minutes per player once you got the rules under control and stuff, but it's a fairly accurate thing. So, what's gonna be the score for Starship Captains? Well, I'm thinking I'm going to give it a 7. There is, you know, there's a lot of things about it that I like, as I talked about, but it's almost as if everything I like comes with a but. There's always something where it's not as good as it could be better, there could be these changes, but it is still a very entertaining game. If you like Star Trek more than Star Wars, it's definitely a game that's going to be for you. As I talked about, my friend has, my friend prefers this over any of the Star Wars games because he does prefer Star Trek, especially Next Generation, I think it is that he's talking about. It's the one with Patrick Stewart, I believe that's Next Generation. I actually don't know, I don't know much about it. But he enjoyed that. So maybe you didn't find more enjoyment on that side, but there's always just, you know, I like this, but... so it's gonna be a 7 out of 10. Am I keeping it? Well, that's an interesting question. Because I am in conversations with someone, and by the time this video goes out, very much those conversations could be over. But I'm talking to a person about quite possibly trading this game for Spectacular, the game that released this year. I'm hoping it will go through so that I can play it and put it on like a top 10 or something, or maybe be totally disappointed by it. Who knows? So in the am I keeping it? It's a maybe, because I don't think I'm gonna be selling it anytime soon, but I will definitely trade it. So maybe. Thank you very much for watching this tabletop review. It should be the last one going out before December, and I have decided to make December Lord of the Rings month. I have a whole bunch of games that I'm going to be talking about. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!